Hello parents, this is Chris Allen and I wanted to give you an update for the week of February 22nd. So in geometry class, we're in a unit on trigonometry, which is a fancy word for saying triangle math. And so students may have a question involving this particular right triangle where they're asked to determine the value of x. Well, most people probably are familiar with this very famous equation that applies to right triangles. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of that triangle. And so we can just plug these values into that equation, square and square root, and we will get our answer that x is approximately 14.0524 miles. In AP Calculus AB, we are looking at Chapter 5 now, which is specifically on differential equations. Here's an example of a differential equation. We know that dy dx is equal to 2x over y, and we are looking at things called slope fields. So we want to try to generate a slope field for this particular differential equation. We just do that by creating a table of values, and we can plug in various values for x and y into the right-hand side of that equation. For example, if we plug in -4 and 2, -4 for x and 2 for y, we would find that dy dx is equal to -4. And then we would repeat that process. And the more values of x and y we get, the more accurate picture that we will get. This is a slope field, which gives you some idea of what the solution is for that particular differential equation. Please note that when x is -2 and y is equal to 0, that the value is undefined there for the derivative. In Calc BC, we are looking at power series. This is a power series. This is following up our section on Taylor polynomials, which has a finite number of terms. Power series has an infinite number of terms, and we can use that to approximate very accurately many functions. And for example, I'm not even going to mention which function this is, but this is a pretty scary looking power series. And one of the things we might ask students to do is figure out the interval of convergence. So we use something similar to the ratio test, and we find in this case that as we take this limit of u n plus 1 over u of n as n goes to infinity, we end up getting that limit being the absolute value of x minus 1. Now we know that therefore we know that the radius of convergence is 1. We also know that in this particular example that the center of this particular power series is indeed x equals 1. So we know that we've got values between 0 and 2 will be convergent. We also need to check the endpoints. If you check the left endpoint at 0, you would use the integral test and you would find that it is divergent. And then on the right-hand side, when x is equal to 2, you end up with an alternating series again. So you would use the alternating series test, which you would find that is convergent. So the interval of convergence here is 0 to 2, with 2 being included. Some final thoughts for this week. Number one, the end of the third 9 weeks is Friday, March 12th. That's about 2 weeks away from Friday. So we are getting close to the end of the grading period. As a parent, you should be concerned about that. We want to make sure those grades are in good shape. So I'm asking you, number one, please check those Canvas pages. Every teacher is required to have a Canvas page for their students. And you know, as a parent, hopefully that you can actually monitor what's going on in those Canvas pages. Also, grades, be checking. We use Skyward. You can log in as a parent and look at your students' grades, homework and quizzes and tests, etc. Please keep a close tab on those. If the grades aren't where they need to be, or if there's missing work, I encourage you to reach out to your student and or the teacher. And finally, Parent Square messages. I have been sending messages to parents, and I'll be honest, I don't get a lot of response. Parent Squared is the official communication channel for the district, so hopefully if you're watching this video, you already know that, but there is the ability to send messages back and forth to teachers and parents on Parent Squared. So Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great week.